Hello everyone, my name is Mikaila, and today's topic of debate is arranged marriage versus choosing your own partner. The cultural and traditional religious practice of arranged marriage is vastly practiced throughout the world. Where in Western culture, we do value something referred to as love marriage, a marriage in between two people where they in fact choose their own partner, and this love is supposed to be based upon mutual love, affection, and attraction for another. In other parts of the world, people prefer for a third party, usually family, to choose their partner for them and to bring their families together in marriage like that. Now, having that said, this does not mean that the individuals have no choice in the matter. So for the purpose of this debate, I'd like to have it be established that there's a difference between forced marriage and arranged marriage, and that with arranged marriages, the option for divorce is in fact there. So, in defense of arranged marriage, arguing that in fact a relationship based on two individuals decided by a third party, we have Meira. Here's your 2 minutes.
I know what you're thinking. Arranged marriage is so last century. I want to choose my partner on my own terms. I don't want my parents to make such a decision for me. But maybe you do. What if I told you what you think you know about arranged marriage is far from the truth? And now let me make it very clear at first, like Mikaila said, arranged marriage is not forced marriage. These people who are entered into arranged marriages do have an option to exit and do actually have an option not to marry this person. Now, first the two separate families meet each other and they look for background, kind of like a background check. They see if there's any welfare problems or serious personality deficits in the potential partner. Because often the things they find when they negate a relationship is with things that people in choice marriages often say, had I known this before, I probably wouldn't have gotten involved. Now, once the families are approved, the two potential partners get to go out and talk and see if they like each other. Some might call it a date. I would even call it a safe date, because there's no, what if he turns out to be this horrible mass murderer sociopath? Because this has already been searched. And if something bad does happen, you have your full family support, because both families are very connected to each other. So, to sum it up, arranged marriage is actually much more similar to choice marriage and much different from forced marriage than you might have thought. But arranged marriage has the added benefit of safety and peace of mind. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to our defense. Now I'd like to introduce Nedda, who will be providing us with an opposition to Meira's argument that choosing your partner is in fact better for relationships. Now you have your 2 minutes.
Arranged marriages are a long-standing historical tradition. But they are just that, historical. More than ever before, we have a variety of ways in which we can intermingle with the opposite sex. From mixed-gender classrooms, to religious youth groups, to online dating, the opportunities are out there, and it's no longer as necessary as it once was for families to find spouses for their children. Though, by definition, arranged marriage may not be forceful, it doesn't come without its pressures. You can't really say, better luck next time, when it comes to marriage. We're sort of taught that it's a one-shot thing. So, is divorce allowed? Sure. But is it practical? Not really. Even in a love marriage, divorce is not an easy option, let alone an arranged marriage where the entire family's eyes are on you in hopes that their decision for you was in fact the right one. So, cultural and familial pressures can also sometimes prevent the couple from meeting until their wedding day, though in some instances this is not the case. However, if it is, that would mean that it can be detrimental to the relationship, because it means that the couple can't then decide whether or not they actually see themselves spending the rest of their lives together. If this is not the case, they may still feel pressured by their families to go through with this relationship out of fear of embarrassment or other responding feelings. So these societal and cultural and familial pressures can ultimately prevent us from expressing our free will. Though this is not a human rights abuse because there's no force involved, it may actually, in fact, prevent us from enjoying our human rights. In Article 2, paragraph 16 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it states that marriage shall only be entered into with the full and free consent of intending spouses. All of these external factors can pressure us into giving our consent, but perhaps not wholeheartedly. While there may still be pressures in a love marriage, this doesn't mean that they didn't in fact choose one another, which I think we can all agree that they did. So if you do happen to end up ruining your life because you made a bad choice in your partner, at least in the end, it's still your fault and no one else's.
So we've heard some pretty interesting arguments from both sides, but now we're going to change things up a little. I want both of you to have the opportunity to rebut. So, listening to both of your arguments, there's a couple of things that brought questions to my mind. So I'd like to start off with Meira. And you mentioned that based on arranged marriage, having your family decide who your partner will be, it pleases your family and therefore gives you a sense of familial support. My question to you is, how much family involvement is always a good thing? Sometimes it is in fact better for a problem to be solved between the couple themselves rather than having input from your whole family. What is your opinion on the extent of familial involvement in someone's relationship?
Well, I would say that the couple does initially have the opportunity to work out their problems with each other, but they do have huge support from their parents if they can't resolve it on their own. They can call the family together, or maybe just start with just the parents, get to know mom and dad, what do I do in this situation? And I think that in arranged marriage, there's more of an opportunity to do that because your parents can't be like, well, you chose it, you deal with it yourself.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Another question that I was wondering, I'd like to direct it towards you, Nedda, is, now, all the while we do look at choosing your own partner as something very valuable, sometimes we don't often know what exactly is best for us. And although love is incredibly important, as Meira had mentioned, sometimes looking at the background of where the other person's family comes from is important. What do you think about the fact that your parents with an arranged marriage will be able to foresee some upcoming problems with the other person's family based on financial problems, family stability, and therefore?
Well, I think that's very general because at the end of the day, we all sort of have our dirty little secrets. And no matter how much my family may think they know his family, there may still be things at the end of the day that they don't know about them that I would find out, 10 years or 20 years down the road. So if I were to go with a choice marriage, I could still sort of get to know the guy and spend a few years or a few months or however long you feel you need to spend with him in order to figure out what his background is like, what his family is like, spend some time actually with his family, and sort of figure out for myself whether or not I think that he's a well-rounded good guy.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And that concludes our debate. Now it is time for the audience to choose which side they find as the most convincing argument. By applaud.
You're in control.
By applaud. So, if you feel as though the option to choose your own partner makes for a more successful relationship, please clap or applaud.
Yeah!
Okay, thank you everyone. If you feel as though having the option of an arranged marriage may lead to a better relationship and may be easier for you, please applaud. Well, that was great. That was wonderful. Thank you very much to our audience. I believe it was a draw.